Hello and welcome. You are listening to Beyond the Surface. I am Angela Bertone, your host. On today's podcast, we ask the question, is it possible to tame our tongue? When it comes to our words, we often find ourselves struggling to break free from patterns of negativity and complaints. We've all been there, stuck in a cycle of criticism, frustration, and disappointment. But what if I told you that there is a way to transform your words and therefore your life? Our words are a reflection of what is in our hearts already. And when our hearts are filled with fear, doubt, and negativity, our words reflect that. But the good news is that we can transform our hearts and thereby our words. There are two scriptures that come to mind. One scripture says, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. The other scripture is that it is impossible to tame the tongue. So what do? We must change what's in our heart. By focusing on God's love and truth, we can begin to shift our heart-brain perspective and develop a more positive and grateful attitude. Moreover, and even more importantly, we must be able to recalculate or redeem our past experiences, especially in places where we were wounded, felt rejected, betrayed, or abandoned. Painful emotions like those create calculations and therefore conclusions, and they are recorded not only in our heart brain, but in every cell in our body. So you see, we can't muster up enough willpower to pretend everything is okay when it's not. It's about allowing God's love to permeate our hearts and minds, especially in those broken places, and to transform us from the inside out, in our wounded or in our immature emotions. When we do this, we'll start to notice a change in our words and therefore in our relationships. When we feel loved, forgiven, safe, and at peace with ourselves, God, and others, we will begin to speak more positively, more kindly, and more truthfully. We'll start to see the good in ourselves and others, and we'll experience a sense of peace and confidence that comes from knowing that we're rooted in God's love, the kind of love that cannot fail. What's amazing is that this kind of peace that is rooted in this kind of love, an unwavering love, it's even present in the midst of hard times, sorrow, suffering, grief, and despair. So how do we get there? How do we transform our words and our lives? It starts with a decision to focus on God's truth and to seek His guidance. It starts with a willingness to let go of fear and doubt and to meditate to the point of feeling God's love so that our trust in His goodness and His love is chemically deposited into ourselves. When we're ready to change, we must first observe what words flow out of our mouth when we're under pressure. When we hear ourselves, we can begin to observe our emotions. It's kind of like taking inventory and seeing if our opinions and judgments that are present in that painful moment and in that stressful situation match our logical and moral compass. When our words are not in harmony with our logic and moral compass, it's time to see what past experiences and emotions are holding you captive. The goal is to deal with the feelings, not just the circumstances that caused you the pain. Emotional maturity comes when we can observe these past hurts and not identify as one with the feeling. For example, if I felt rejected in a particular circumstance, that does not mean that I am in a continual state of rejection. The need for approval and acceptance of others is one reason that we may be stuck in the fear of being rejected again and again. The truth is, we will only feel accepted when we experience God's acceptance and self-acceptance. How is that possible? It's because we can't give something away that we haven't received. When we receive God's words, that brings life and hope. We then can give God's words of life and hope to those around us because we finally feel it. It will happen spontaneously. It is in the receiving our emotional needs and healing from God and then self that allows us to reflect what God's love has deposited into our hearts. This builds character because it's no longer only in our logic, but it's in our emotions and our neurological heart brain. I want to encourage you today to make a decision. Take some time to reflect on your words and your heart. Look for the areas where you desire change and you want to grow, and take small steps to build the feelings in your heart brain that you want to flow out of you. Each step you take in healing your emotions will change what's in your heart, and that will change what comes out of your mouth. This is a life of design, just like growing a garden. Make a list of emotions that trigger you. Find a memory that causes a painful emotion to surface. Ask yourself and ask God if there is any way that you can look at that old experience in a new light. Maybe you felt alone in a particular memory, and therefore you acquired great compassion and you never want anyone left out. That's a gift. Spend some time being grateful for that gift and let that old experience be recalculated from a bad experience to a place where you learned and acquired the gift of compassion. Continue to do similar exercises with other painful past experiences. Before long, you will find that the words out of your mouth will be filled with kindness, hope, encouragement, and yes, even wisdom. This kind of living is available to you today and every day. Thank you for joining me on Beyond the Surface, and thank you for sharing it with others. I am Angela Bertone, your host, reminding you to align with love